How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today got a few more things done on this new contamination map. Unlocked a new base and stuff. At the beginning I was just looking around for different ways off like this first little island really. It does appear you can get over that rail bridge as well, and then when I checked on my sturdy bridge that I built, I was like, what the hell? I haven't touched the game since, just for some reason, between quitting yesterday and reloading it today. The bridge is all messed up, the bridge layer thing is folded differently, one side is all propped up, the other one's fell down. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's not looking too good, so I'll have to go in and fix it. Improve it. Sturdy Bridge 2.0. First thing though, I needed to get to the other side, and my bridge had fell down. This thing, at least it did attach there, it wasn't being too awkward. You still have to get pretty close with it, but even though it was on an angle, it didn't force me to kind of somehow like get level with it before it let me attach it. And this shows you where the, I don't know, the mechanics of the game sometimes are a bit quirky. I'm trying to reverse the bridge. Well, I'm reversing this, which is actually respectable because it's kind of dragging the bridge. But then the bridge that's sat on top kind of starts levering that down, which it's not even supposed to bend that far or that way particularly. And I can't lift it up, but then doing the opposite of like extending the bridge, suddenly it's got like a pretty good strength. Shoves that out of the way, flips one of my bridge pieces upside down though, which I was planning on using. You can see there it says unable to detach bridge, which I personally would like to deploy it at an angle, but it won't let me. However, I figured out, thankfully, whilst extending it, I was able to hook one side, at least to get level with the road at the top there. So I was like, well, new plan. Because obviously, yeah, the one of the bridge pieces has flopped over to the side. I'm sure I could bring a crane down and probably flip it and all the rest of it, but a lot of hassle to rescue it. But yeah, plan B was kind of like, once I propped one side up, I thought if I could extend this, because obviously the gap in total is a lot bigger than one bridge, but I was thinking maybe it's only as big as 1.5 bridges. Got it all lined up, was thinking, yeah, that's not bad, it's looking alright that. As you can see, I had to get the bridge pretty damn close to the edge on this side. Got it there, I was like, wow, it seems to be holding, we'll give it a little test drive. And yeah, up to now, I was like, well, it's looking alright. Again, you can see a lot of frame rate things dropping. Bounced here, but you can see there, it slid down a bit as I drove over it. And this side, I mean, it's pretty close to the edge. But anyway, thought, right, I'll go back, because I at least want to make sure I can go both ways. I wasn't sure if, like, driving one way might make that bridge just suddenly slide down completely. In theory, it shouldn't, because it's like, I don't know, the other angle of the bridge is kind of propping it up as well. Drove over it, I was pretty happy there, but again, it was sliding down a bit more. And then by the time I drove this thing back over, because I just wanted this thing on this side, in case it all collapsed, like, this is probably the first piece I need to pick up. Yeah, you could see it kept sliding down, so I tweaked it a bit. I got the vehicle at the bottom kind of as close as I could to the edge, and then again with this, drove it to the point where it's like, it's hanging on by the skin of its teeth. There's like about an inch worth of bridge that's balancing on this side. However, this time, the other end of it now meets in like the gap where that bridge is slightly bent. So that ain't sliding down anymore. And again, this one's cutting it fine. Probably got another inch or so balancing on the edge of that iron bar thing sticking out. But yeah, Sturdy Bridge 2.0 is a go. See, this game tried to scam me out of my own bridge, and then he's like, whoops, you dropped a part of your bridge. It's like, fine, I'll make my bridge 50% more efficient then. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, Sturdy Bridge is looking pretty good. But anyway, that was a bit of messing around at the beginning, just because, like I say, as I loaded the game up, for some reason it decided to screw me over. And then for some actual missions on the way. So the first one, well, there's this clearing the area of objects and that, but the other mission it unlocked was establish a new base, and obviously I wanted to get that one done sooner rather than later, because having bases all over the place is pretty handy. You also get some fuel for this, which I haven't got a construction zone yet, but there is a sand quarry to unlock. So yeah, I was figuring I'll go along that road along the bottom, assuming I'll be able to, and then after that I'm kind of in the clouds, so I'll just aim for that afterwards. And then at least once I've got a base established, I can do this one afterwards, which I reckon I could probably clear the objects with that mule I've got there. But point being, if I couldn't, I've got a base a lot nearby that I could spawn a big crane and all the rest of it, instead of having to basically drive back down from the top right corner. Yeah, so sorry, for the base, it wants me to deliver that vehicle, so I thought, fair enough, I'll drive along here. I was just putting some flags down to give me a rough idea. I didn't even notice there it had drawn a line through them. Another option would be following that railway, but there's some carts in the way, so I decided not to. And then when I put that flag down, I was like, oh yeah, it's putting a line between them. So I was thinking, oh, cool, like, have they tweaked it? And long story short, they have. So now when you put flags down, it's still, I believe you can see all the flags lit up, like to the right of the screen, they're kind of moving around and that. So it's not quite full SnowRunner, because say in SnowRunner if you put 20 markers down, it'll only show you the next one. But it's a good start at least. So now, I'm obviously, when I drive to the first flag, it auto-deletes as you're going along, which, yeah, I appreciate. That's a good thing that they've done with this update, as like adding the DLC, but they've fixed and tweaked various things anyway, so even if you haven't got the DLC, this sort of stuff should now be the same, like in the normal playthrough of the game. And then cutting along here, it's quite nice, because there's like a little road running along the middle. I wasn't sure if the water would be pretty deep going along here, so I got away with the first section anyway. Yeah, left a bit of this footage in. I was tempted to kind of snip it and fast forward it a bit. Video's a tad longer than I wanted, but I thought it's a fairly new map, so it's a bit of footage of driving around. And then yeah, this next section of water though, not quite so lucky. Funnily enough, this is like a good example of more like what I was thinking the Deluge map would, I mean probably on a bigger scale than this, but I cannot see for the life of me where there's a road. If there's a road, I'm just kind of winging it and hoping that there is or was. Yeah, it's going pretty deep, that's what she said of course. The engine's getting pretty close, but again, this is where I was thinking like, was more my Deluge assumption, where you're cutting it pretty fine. It actually officially flooded for a second or two there, but thankfully this game does give you a little window before it instantly kills the engine, so I managed to start climbing up some higher ground, and at this point I was like, oh yes, we've made it. I wanted to go over to the left, because you can see there's quite a sharp cut off where the road ends, and yeah, went far too deep, flooded my engine, last little sputter. She's cooked, so yeah, I'm going to have to recover it and drive back. For what it's worth, I just left this bit in, because when I recovered it to like the start point, it spawned me on the other side of this yard. I don't know why, but it didn't really matter. It's just pretty random. So I drove back down here, but then I noticed there's like ramps going over those pipes, and I could in theory connect to the rail line again, but I'm on the other side of those carts that are in the way. And then in theory I could follow the rail yard up back to the main road, sorry, the rail yard, the rail tracks. But I wanted to go and drive to me flag, because I was sort of testing them out, like, yeah, you drive to the next one and it deletes it. I'll have to try at some point actually, I suppose, because this game still highlights all the flags. I wonder if you draw, say, 5 flags in a row, and you drove to the first one and then the third one, if it would delete it, or if you have to do it in a like full chronological order like you do on SnowRunner. I'll test that out. I didn't really think of it until now. So yeah, there's the tracks I could follow back to kind of more of a main road, but I wanted to push my luck. I'm eager to get me flag. This mule though, see, this is where I think that other mule, the newer one with the fatter tyres, does seem more tippy, because this one I was kind of pushing my luck quite a lot there, skating along. And this thing gets a pretty good lean on before it actually tips. And you see, it's just, when I first set off from the garage, this thing was really slow, because the gearbox is terrible in the mule. But there, because I kept it floored after I got my flag and did a bit of a U-turn, I was in the correct gear. And when I say correct gear, like, I have no choice in it, but the game is probably in like 4th gear or something. It had a nice pace up that hill. I wish they'd just fix it so it drives about, you know, I don't want to race around like a race car, but I just want to go more than 1 mile an hour and constantly hear it changing gears. Yeah, so it just sort of shows the difference, like even pulling uphill there. By comparison, this is, yeah, going back through the bloody gearbox. Yeah, I had to touch me little flag to make that one disappear. And then go around here. There's a lot of crap they've put in the way though. A lot of trees that have fallen down, and then they've obviously purposely put like that cabin and the crane and whatnot in the way. I was looking kind of somewhere else, so I hit a tree stump. Get through it, try and be careful, like, oh, nature. And then as soon as it's in the way, it's like, you must die, tree. Fuck nature. Got a destination to achieve. Yeah, so that tree had to eat one. Had to take one for the team. Once you get past all that, though, kind of reconnect to the main road, and yeah, up ahead is a new base. I think it's called the Coastal Base. And this bit, by the way, that you can see gets a bit boggy. I wasn't worried like this thing would get through, but I already had in mind that I'm probably going to fix this. To the right is an actual sand quarry, which you're able to unlock. It costs 4 fuel, and obviously if you do this mission, you get paid 12 fuel, among other things. So, yeah, once you've got that done, like, it's pretty easy to unlock that. I also got the construction zone unlocked tonight, which I was pretty keen to get done, because then at that point you can buy materials if you want. You can also sell stuff. Yeah, I wanted to get more beams sooner rather than later, because I want to just try out buying more bridge sections. Yeah, unlock the base though. Actually, you can see again the frame rate goes a bit funny. It actually unlocks the clouds like beyond where you could even move the camera, which is good. I'd rather that. It's nice. Even though they're not complete 90-degree angle lines, they're looking a bit better. Yeah, so the next mission, now I've got the base unlocked, I wanted to clear this area of objects. And then I was thinking, like, I've already got this thing, because I had to bring it here yesterday for a mission. I was hoping, like, I mean, those big train car things, I was like, this thing isn't going to lift, because I remember lifting them on Deluge. I definitely needed, even the big crane is not keen on lifting them. But I thought, anyway, like, thankfully, this mission, they've done quite a narrow, sort of that yellow rectangle zone you've got to get everything out of. So, I was hoping I could kind of shove the rail cars down the hill was the plan. Got these in here anyway, because I realised at some point, I think I'd already spotted the construction zone. It's not unlocked yet, but it's in the bottom right corner of the map. And I don't know, I just thought I'll load these in here, gets them kind of out of the way anyway. And hopefully soon I can sell them, even though, to be fair, they're not really worth a lot. And I've got like 13.5 million. Apparently, by the way, they've patched that glitch where you could, like, the cargo was sort of spawning, so, yeah. Hence why I got like 13.5 million while I could, because I kind of figured it may get patched at some point, and yeah, thankfully though, still got me money. I was trying to ram, I was able to reverse into those train cars, but typical, that one that is living on the edge. If the mission was to not accidentally knock them train cars off, I would have gone within 6 foot of it and it would have fell off the cliff. But because I was trying to ram it down there, yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, I think I was hanging on for dear life, but I got them out of the zone, so that was enough. There is quite a lot of crap to clear, but you can kind of get chunks of it done. Like, for example, this train car. I quite like, it's not as much as I'd like, but this mule is actually, it puts a bit more effort than none in when you're pushing stuff like this. It could just as easily just be like note and wheel spin and all the rest of it, but it feels like with the tyres, I suppose, it actually does kind of bite in and actually make an attempt to push things with some level of effort involved. Just got away with that one, just wanted to nudge it to the side of it, as long as you get those yellow triangle things that are out of the zone. And then yeah, these, it was actually like the 2 pieces of broken, I thought for a sec as it glitched, but it's the actual sections of railway. I neatly placed them over to the side here because I was thinking maybe I could use them later for something. Didn't really know what yet, but they're kind of a flat, solid span of something, and I kind of thought maybe at some point down the line. Yeah, and then the last 3 things in my vehicle obviously had to reverse out the zone. That unlocks, you've got to fix like that piece of railway. I would argue that probably needs more urgent attention than this little patch here, but whatever. Next mission is unlocked. Yeah, that mule thing did alright there. Oh yeah, there's also, I unlocked like to plan a route, and it was only over to that coastal base. Let's look at, there's a nice little waterfall there. So I thought, sod it. It's not too bad. What could possibly go wrong, of course. I don't really like that ghost overlay, it just puts me off a bit, but someone I did see in the comments, which is a very valid point, they said they like it for when you draw in the dots to go round, like, say, a particularly sharp corner. It helps give you an idea of, like, where the truck will be by then. Which, personally, if I could just turn them off, I probably would, but I do agree, like, from that perspective that they were saying, that's probably not a bad thing. It's not the AI ghost thing's fault that the actual AI drive like fucking idiots half the time. Yeah, so it may be quite useful for that, like, you can just see when you've got a bit of a tricky corner to go around. I planned the route. To be honest, I drew the line too far over. I think it's the shadow of the tree makes it look like it's further across the road than it is. There is actually enough room to squeeze a truck by without having to kind of like rally off over the edge. So this thing got that far, but I already knew looking up ahead, like, yeah, this thing ain't got a chance in hell of getting through that boggy section. So already, that's why I already pulled out of the view. I was looking at it just to get some footage because I knew for the video, but I was like, right, I'll get me bike or truck out. I've unlocked the sand quarry. I might have been yapping when I paid to unlock it, but I think I left the footage in. Yeah, so I started laying down a road along here. Originally I was just going to connect this little section up, but then I thought, well, while I'm here, I've already got the bike out, I'm going to get the dozer thing out to flatten it all. I may as well kind of do the entire triangle and get it all connected up. Make my roads a bit nicer on the way into my new base. It's nice though that they've unlocked this base, because it's basically like the opposite corner of the first base you unlock on this map, so at least you've kind of got whichever end of the map you want to be working on, you've got an option. I believe there is two or three more bases to unlock on this map. I can't remember now. Yeah, I might have unlocked 48 out of 50 or something like that. Yeah, thankfully this Azov actually is able to drive. I think they've balanced the Azov well. For a crappy vehicle that I don't expect to do that well, it's not like piss-takingly bad. Yeah, by the way, it did some weird glitch now. Look, it's kind of like I've got nothing on the screen. I was able to zoom right out. I sort of, not panicked, but I hit back multiple times and got back to this. I wasn't sure if it had glitched, and I just wanted to figure out if it had, and if it has, I'll try and quit and reload before it actually saves its progress. But then it let me back out of it, so yeah, I don't know, just some weird glitch. Next up, there's all these trees along here that I had to kind of go round with a mule, really. I just wanted to clear them out quickly. And that tree that I went round in the Azov a minute ago, I also got that one trimmed up. Makes you go so much slower in mulcher mode, but as soon as I got it out of mulcher mode, the thing's about ready to start drifting. It's more like it. I wish it'd drive like that all the time. And again, I was bringing the bike up. I didn't actually plan to sand this part of the road. I just did while I was going along, because I was within the sand zone, so I could always just top it back up as I was driving along. Yeah, this section I recently just tried to drive through with a mule where I drowned it. I decided to kind of patch this over because it looks like it's going to be quite handy to have as a road kind of as this map unfolds. And there is a road along here, it's just slightly under the water. I could run one more load of sand, but I kind of like that it goes just underwater, but there is a road there. You gotta pray that you remember the exact dimensions of the road, otherwise you'll swerve off to the side and drown pretty quickly. But I'll take my chances. I actually like overall this map. It definitely feels difficult because for one there's islands and you it's a bit rough getting around, but I like how if you take a few minutes to kind of look around and plan your route, you can sort of get rewarded with easier options and so on. I don't know, it just feels like they've got a quite nice balance so far anyway going along on this map. Yeah, so sorry, I was driving over here because I was actually going to grab the large rail track I need to fix, but while I was driving over here I already knew there was a construction depot, and it just so happened as I was like rolling, because I didn't put my handbrake on, I must have got close enough to trigger like it unlocked a mission. And yeah, again, I was originally driving over here to grab this piece of rail track, but I already was a bit, I know I could get it there, but kind of to try and play the game I was like, it's a bit of a big rail track for that crane, so I'll probably bring a big crane. And apologies, I lost the bit of footage at the beginning there, but I've grabbed 3 things out of the construction depot, because the mission is you've got to deliver 4 objects, but to 3 different locations, and then clear the area of objects. I'll show you in a minute where they were. It's all pretty simple, I just must have lost the bit of footage. Yeah, it's a bit confusing, because it doesn't really tell you where the various items... I know it does when you click through them, but they're all stacked on top of each other, so you couldn't figure out, like, well, is it telling me it's that bit of equipment or the other one? In the end, it turns out the 2 yellow pumps go to that section. While I was trying to... One of them got stuck, by the way, and that's why I had to drive round and try and yank it out and all sorts, and then it made me tip over and this thing fell out, and yeah, it all went tits up. This one's just around the corner. At least you can tell that one because of the shape of like the blue ghost thing it's got there. And those 3 items, by the way, were stacked on and next to this big cargo container. So that's why when you were trying to work out which object gets delivered where, you couldn't really tell which one it was hovering on. And then got in, is it just me? But I was like, damn, boy, thick. Is that cargo container massive, or is my sideboard just tiny? Like, didn't these used to fit in the sideboard, or am I tripping? I honestly, I couldn't figure it out. It was making me look at it for a second like, what the hell is my perspective all off? Is this a smaller truck than I originally realised? Or is that just a whopper of a cargo container? But anyway, either way, it wants that one over there. And then you can see the various objects it wants me to clear. But yeah, the 4 things you've got to deliver were just all in a stack. And like I say, 2 of them go to one location, because they're just 2 yellow pump things. And then the other 2 are, well, again, it doesn't see how it's like there's just a zone to drop this off, but it doesn't have a ghost outline of a container. So at first, it's like, well, it could be any one of the 4 items it wants to go there. And then after that, got all these loaded. As soon as I drove off, I was like, God damn it. Dropped that, and then made a right rookie mistake. Reversed to go and get it, and dropped the front one off. It's like, my God, it's all gone wrong again. Yeah, got some stuff loaded up. This time I remembered to put my straps on, so I don't drive off and drop everything. Tried to ram a few things out of the zone while I'm at it. Didn't go too well the first time. Threw all them out, went back for another ramming. This one went pretty well. They all lined up pretty nicely. Yeah, because sometimes I would argue, there's the pipes I dropped off, by the way, that were in my mule. Yeah, sometimes it's better with a dozer to just go and shove a load of stuff out of the zone. Sometimes the crane can be handy if they're in places where like it's awkward to get the dozer in and ram stuff out. But anyway, that mission's done, and I unlocked the construction depot. So the next thing, I was bringing this crane over to grab the large piece of rail track, which is from the same section. And then I had a brainwave. You can see there's like a piece missing out of the road. That yard, by the way, was like where I got the mule from, etc. And yeah, I didn't know this or plan this at the time, but I thought, those pieces of broken rail track that I saved, when I say saved, I had to move them out of the zone, but I could have just frivolously thrown them off the cliff if I felt like it. I thought, right, I might use these to see if I can bridge the gap over that gap. Kind of makes sense, really. Probably over-explained it, if anything. And then, double brainwave, I was like, aha, I'm going to grab one of these large pipes while I'm at it. That's what she said. Because plan B-ish was I maybe I would have just put a pipe in the gap. That's what I said. Yeah, but did you see, those rail tracks fell off my roof. And an important thing worth knowing is I've somehow managed to like weld them together. I think when I pinched them on top of the roof of my crane, I kind of squidged them down, and yeah, look, they're both now stuck together. So plan B, what was putting the pipes in the way, probably was for the best, because originally I was gonna, I don't even know if they'd quite be long enough to actually bridge the gap, but in theory I was gonna put one each side, you know, for like each width of like where your tyres are gonna run. As you can see, I was kind of measuring it up there, like, well, they might reach, but it's close, and they'll probably end up one side all full down and all the rest of it. Obviously doing it like that, there was no point, because now these pipes stick up too much. However, the pipes do work. Probably, I wouldn't bet money on an Azov AI vehicle getting over there or something. But as far as, like, you know, the mule and all the rest of it, goddamn horse, I mean, he'll get over anything. Yeah, this crane gets over them, like, it'll do for now. And one day I'll probably bring a bicycle down here and pour some sand into the gap. I suppose you could use one of those bridge layers, really, as well. That would make sense as I've added them, but for some reason I seem to keep finding weird random ways to make bridges without proper bridges. Yeah, again, brought the crane for this. I still think I could have done it with the mule, although it does weigh quite a lot. But yeah, I don't know, for some reason I was in the mood to do the game as properly as I could before. Once it starts trolling me with glitches and bugs and all the rest of it, I lose my patience and I'm like, right, I'll shortcut every part of the game I can just to make up for the future when it's going to troll me. Yeah, trying to drive this thing out the bloody garage without hitting everything, since it sticks pretty far out. I managed to take out the little toll booth thing at the gates, but fucking Yeah, see these little. I hadn't even seen these at the time, but that was essentially what I was going to do with the rail tracks. Was make like it should give us more little bridges like that we could pick up. I'd find uses for them somewhere. Sped this bit up. It was just because, especially with the weight of the rail tracks sticking over the front, this thing's chin catches bloody everything. So I just had to speed. It was either speed the footage up or cut it out. There was just too much chin action going on. I'm not even going to say it, but we're all thinking it, let's be honest. And I mean, this in its own right, this length of rail track would be pretty handy to use for various things. You probably need two of them, though, because I mean, the loaf, again, is goddamn professional. He could probably use just one span, but most vehicles would need two. And then this came up. Certain types of cargo can be damaged during transportation, resulting in smaller bonus reward for completing the task. Keep the cargo intact by avoiding rough terrain and driving carefully. I was like, oh shit, I'm cooked. This is not good. Yeah, I'm not exactly known for driving carefully. And half the time I'm not even looking at the screen. Yeah, so apparently at some point I'm going to have to move cargo that may get damaged, resulting in smaller bonuses. All I can say is it's a good job I cashed out 13.5 million before I got to this point. And yeah, as a little last overlook, there was the construction zone in the bottom right, the base roughly bottom left, probably not quite, but close enough. And yeah, that's about it so far. I was just about to quit, and I was like, hang on, something's not right. To jump in the lathe quickly, have a little victory horn action. There's the fuel tank thing in the background. And yeah, contamination, I did another 7% tonight, I think. I was on 6% yesterday. 3 infrastructure requests, 7 completed objectives, 1 side objective. Got a few supplies stacking up. Oh, that's it, 48 out of 50, so there's probably 2 more bases on this map. For some reason, there seems to be a vehicle I'm missing, but I think it's a Lynx version. But anyway, that's about it for today. I hope you've enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, get yourself a loaf, and I'll be back soon.